Hey everybody, it's time to talk about a game that I have known about for some time. Basically, as long as I have been, back on the Steam, which I got back on Steam so that my kids could play Terraria. I found out my account had been hacked, and I had to send a photo to myself of myself holding the Steam CD with the key visible that the account was started with back in, 19 the orange box, whatever year that was in the last millennium. Anyway, so yeah, this is a game I've known about for as long as I have been back on Steam, essentially. And so, yeah, because it's been around a while. It came out in 2015, and as you are no doubt seeing by now, it is a twin sticky type shooter, which is a very normal thing for a game to be. There's a lot of them in the world, and, they aren't all good. Like, we have had, what was that one? Godstrike? Ooh, do not like. Yeah, did that game let me down so hard. Anyway, but unlike Godstrike, you have the lovely, the wonderful Assault Android Cactus. And this is Assault Android Cactus Plus, because we get the plus on Steam. But yeah, this is a really, really highly revered twin-stick shooter among those who revere twin-stick shooters, which, not enough people do. Like, it's a very niche genre. There are always the guys who play the RTSs, but there are a lot of those guys, and who's around playing twin-stick shooters? Well, I am, and like a handful of other people are, and among those of us who play them, this game is well-known and well-loved. But when you look at it on Steam, it only has like 1,200 reviews. It's very positively reviewed, but 1,200 reviews on Steam is, not that much for a game that is literally one of the best entries in the genre over the last decade. Like, that's the air that this game is in. Why? Let's dig in. So, the first and foremost, the thing that matters the most with the twin sticky shooter is, how's the sticks work? How tight are the controls? How good can you feel just hopping into a level, having things come at you, and you just fight your way out? Because ultimately that's what a twin stick shooter is you getting thrown in somewhere and then you just have to fight your way out. Which it's a very old school style of gaming. It's been around forever. We're talking Robotron days, which, twin stick shooter back then. Yeah, forget about it. Anyway, regardless, actually it would have been played with a single stick. So, fun times, good times. But anyway, the thing is that, was it one stick, one button, I'm pretty sure. Regardless, we definitely need to take time for me to remember what the button layout is on an original Berserk machine. Anyway, regardless, the fact is, or on an original Robotron machine, Berserk being the next game of note in the genre, beauty of a game, really stands up to this day. Very fun to play on just about any console I've ever played it on. Anyway, regardless, but we're not here to talk about Berserk. We're here to talk about Assault Android Cactus, which literally does, I want you to know that as someone who's been playing these style of games since Robotron, since Berserk, because I go way back in the days of gaming, and I still have all of my vintage consoles, and this is one of my very favorite genres of game, forever. Like, it just is, because it's so very fun. Simple concept, easy to understand, difficult to master, especially if it's good level design. And the first thing you notice about Assault Android Cactus, you are like 2 levels in when you realize, like, oh, they really thought these levels out. Like, they were not messing around when they put these together. They knew what they were doing. There's that one that's like spokes of a wheel, and what a pain that was to get through. I think I failed the first time I went through it. And yeah, it really tough level that just kept going and going and going, and you're like, boy, when is the boss gonna show up? Which, yeah, there are mini bosses and large bosses, you know. In this case, you know, they're talking about overseers, I think they're called. Basically, what's happened in this game, I should perhaps explain the plot, is that you go on board this spaceship where all the robots are going crazy, all the work bots that, like, man the ship and perform the vital functions to keep it going, you know. All of these robots have gone rogue, and the ship is massively big because, you know, your character comes on board and she's like, oh, we just need to reboot your mainframe or whatever. Like, get to the main part of the computer. And the other characters are like, well, you'd have to be crazy to do that. And then your character is like, oh, perhaps I did not introduce myself. My name is Cactus. And, you know, it's like oh my God, it's Cactus. Can you believe it? You know, and so, yeah, everybody is relieved and surprised to see you, but now you get to go on board, and with your twin sticky McShooty shoot, you go around and you murder all the misbehaving robots. But here's the fun part, is that you yourself are a robot. Yeah, you're an android. So, you know, that's hence the Assault Android Cactus. Your name is Cactus. You're an assault android, you know, and these other androids didn't realize who you were, and then you show up and you're like, guess who it is? Like, I am a known quantity of who would be that crazy. Me. In days of yore, the lore hath been spoken. And so, like, yeah, it's cool to be this character that you're like, let's go. And people are like, all right, behind this one. Anyway, because, yeah, the idea of a 2-kilometer long spaceship, I mean, you know, Star Destroyers from Star Wars had to be at least that big, you know. You had a really crappy bunk, and then you had to scramble, and you had to make your way all the way to the back, and everyone's like, where's the light? Yeah, 2 kilometers I had to run on this stupidly long spaceship. Anyway, so yeah, it's a really big spaceship that you have to clear out, which means that there are many levels, which there are, and each one you make your way through, and you'll find, like, just the most devilish, devious, but fascinating level design in this style of game that I have seen in a long time. And this is coming from one who plays the genre, you know, like, so yeah, this is honestly just really brilliant level design. And I will say this, like, this game came out in 2015. It looks a little older. It looks a little long in the tooth in graphically a little bit. Because it did not want to play full screen on my, you know, monitors with their not quite the most current, up-to-date, highest of definitions, but like the one below it, Yeah, anyway, that's where I'm rolling. But yeah, the thing is that, like, on my really high-end nice monitor with my really good graphics card, these graphics look PlayStation-y. Like, they just do. And I don't mean PlayStation 5 or 4 or really even 3. It's 2 and below at times. But there are some very good-looking PS2 games, so don't think that I'm knocking it too hard. It's just, it's an older game. But yeah, like, the characters are very chibi looking, and at first I was like, I don't know if I'm never gonna like this. I know other people who play this genre like this, but I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And then you start playing and you're like, oh yeah, totally, okay. Because, you know, immediately as soon as your character gets going, you know, the buttons are like, one of the key things in a twin stick shooter is, can you hold the shooting position for long periods of time? You know, like, can you come up with a controller scheme that a person could hold for a really, really long time, like the whole game, you know, basically the whole game. And I have to say, like, you know, while I won't act like, you know, Assault Android Cactus invented this controller scheme for twin sticky shooters, it absolutely sticks with it and, like, gets you into it and teaches it to you, like, very quickly. Like, it sets you up for success in the moving and shooting department so much faster than so many other games I've seen. So there is that, because, you know, sometimes with these twin sticky shooters, they all have their different feel and, like, different strategies apply to different games. You know, general strategies apply to all, but, like, you know, you have to learn the game for each one of these games, because they are not all the same. Although people who don't play the genre are like, it's moving and shooting. Shooting and moving and shooting. Which is like, you know what? So is an FPS. So, like, don't be so down on a genre that, like, does not get enough love in my book. Anyway, regardless. So, yeah, you move and you shoot. You shoot and you move. And you have to collect these little pellets that help improve your weapon over time, because if you don't, then you will pretty soon be overpowered, and then you need to collect every battery you can get, because batteries are basically rare drops, and you, as an android, have to keep yourself powered. The game is not over when you get shot too many times. You're an android. You will come back. So you just tap the fire button a few times, and then it, like, makes an explosion around your person and pushes the enemy back, so that, like, you can get your feet and then go right back at it, which is really nice because it really, like, lowers the price of failure, which, like, you know, I don't know about you, but for me, at my age and stage of gaming, I'm not looking to be punished, you know? Like, I will admit, man, I just finished Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams. Like, I had played the first 2/3 of the game when I reviewed it for the first time, or talked about it on this channel for the first time. And, like, yeah, it's a great game, really like it, especially those early levels. But those late levels, my god, they were just fiendish. And if you ask me, like, okay, so you really like Gianna Sisters, then I'd be like, yeah. And you'd be like, do you want to play those late levels again? And I'd be like, no, not those. No thank you. No thank you. Yeah, it just got so fiendishly difficult. Like, I couldn't handle it. I was getting really angry, and I don't like to get angry during gameplay because I play video games to relax. I don't play them to get all pent up and like yelling at my screen and whatnot. Like, you know, I've said this many times before on this channel, but my wife took a class on, you know, it was one of the classes in, you know, how you put together entertainments for people, you know, things that they will enjoy doing and that they will come back to, you know. And it's in this, you know, like, it's a course for people who do, like, not hotel management, but management of, like, massive parks, like, big city projects and whatnot. And so the question is, what keeps people coming back to a thing? And the answer was, well, it needs to just exceed their grasp, but give them enough to know they can succeed if they keep trying. You know, like, that's the basic principle, is that, like, you're having fun when you can't quite do it, but you can see your path clear, and you know that, like, oh, I can do this. You know, like, when we get to the boss footage, which we may be at this point, yeah, I died to the boss, like, you know, 4 times. And each time I just got closer and closer and closer and closer. And, like, so if you're getting better each time you play through a level, that's the kind of thing that I like. You know, because it's just a little bit harder than I'm used to, but, you know, it's doable. That's what I like to feel like in gaming, is that, like, you know, you're not gonna have to, like, you know, give yourself carpal tunnel syndrome, or like buy another controller after you smash the other one, kind of a thing. Like, you're gonna be fine. You can make it through. You just need to spend a little more time and acquire the skill of playing the game, but the game will help you acquire that skill. You know, because that's what good level design does, and that's what this game has. And so between the really good controls, the really fresh idea that you're an android, and, like, it gives you multiple failures, so really it's a test of time rather than a test of, like, how few times can you get shot. You know, but you better get good at not getting shot, because if you go down too many times, you're going to be wasting time reincarnating each time, and you're going to miss your opportunity to make the shots you need to make before your last battery power or battery pickup is wasted and gone. You know, so there's some strategy to the game that is really good. It brings so much to the table in a genre that, like, is not always known for bringing a ton to the table. This is a game that people who don't really play games like this could really enjoy. So that's honestly one of the best things about it, in my opinion. Anyway, let me put a final score on it. You're not going to be surprised. Okay, so you had to know it. I'm going to give Assault Android Cactus a delightful little game. A lovely entry in a genre that can always use lovely entries. We are giving this game a 9 out of a possible 10 evil autos. So yeah, there you go. Throw in some evil auto for those that know. And if you don't, look it up. It's easily Googleable. Anyway, people, that's going to do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.